Heyo, duckies and dice fiends, welcome in. We should be clear of the ads. It is going to be an extra chaotic night, potentially. David's internet has been misbehaving. It might behave now that we're live. Who knows? I still have not recovered from the last 2 months. And PAX. But we are going to talk about that. That is one of the reasons we are here. As always, find us here every Tuesday doing this. Emergency Power Podcast, the Starfinder 1E adventure. New one comes out tomorrow if you are listening. Thank you for listening. Very proud of it. Hello, very quickly, to Ilaria Stormforge, to Mental Lamia, and to Zycram, to Rex. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Echoes of the Forgotten is going on. New episode coming soonish, I think. I will ask when that's happening. But please join us Sunday the 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern for the Krampus Christmas Conundrum, a holiday D&D 5e one-shot benefiting Extra Life. It is... If any of you have been around for our charity games before, it is going to be punny. It is going to be referencing relevant current events. And there will be a Gilmore, I am sure. So come by for a good time and to benefit a good cause. We have an incredible cast of Holly Conrad, Brian Gray. I'm seeing Latia Chakis and Jen Mack. And we are so excited. Hi, Kreiscon. Welcome in. But you are here for the talk show today. So, David, who the heck is you, and what the heck is we doing here?
It'll make you feel better because I too am not recovered from the past 2 months, and by the past 2 months, I mean the past year.
You've had a little bit more going on than me.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe a smidge.
Writer.
But boy, howdy, did 2025 have hands?
It really has.
But I am excited for Sunday. No, I'm David, and this is the Chaotic Wholesome Tuesday Table Talk Show, where every week we talk about TTRPG stuff, how to be a better person, how to be a better GM, how to be a better player, how to avoid con crud by wearing your mask instead of taking your mask off when you were socializing with people, like somebody did. All with a focus on intersectionality and inclusivity so that everybody can have a good time.
And I forgot to do our Go Live Blue Sky post, but there it is. Yes, we are helping Lamia not murder someone. I was reading your vent in the Discord. I am sorry. That is the worst. I need an alibi. I have a coffee hangout today. It was great. Yeah, exactly. You have your friends who will be the alibi. You have your friends who will help you bury the body. And then you have your friends where you get tossed in the jail cell and they're already there. And you know where on that spectrum you fall.
Yeah.
So, yes, thank you for joining us, for hanging out with us. We want to talk about what happens after a con, because we have many amazing friends who are in many of the various stages of recovering from what happens after a convention. Outside of con crud, which is, a thing. Hey, DC, welcome on in. There is the FOMO, whether you were there or not, because you can be at the con and still have FOMO for things you didn't get to do or things you didn't know was happening until after. There is the con crash, which we are obviously going to link the excellent article by Take This on what is con crash, why it happens. You can do some outside reading. There, it will be in the comments if you're watching this on, or in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. And we're also going to talk about the Conspiration, where you have all the ideas and all of the things, and you... Did captions actually get Conspiration? Wow, that second time it came up with consideration, but I think the first time it actually got Conspiration. where you have all of the ideas and want to do all of the things. And this happens to both introverts and extroverts. And it's the worst when you're an introvert and you're like, I have all the ideas. I want to do all the things. I can't talk to anyone. Last week has been a year, and that year was 2020. Luckily, I've improved finally. Now very nearly 20. Yeah, I don't want a new year. I would like a lightly used 2019, please.
Yeah.
I'll take that, please. Please and thank. Our third co-host is here with violence, apparently. No? We're not? Okay. I am being nommed.
Excellent.
Is Lizard not? Oh, so StreamerBot. I don't know if it's StreamerBot has decided that it doesn't want to talk to OBS. So I have to figure out why these things are not discussing. But let me remember.
Well, we got some troubleshooting to do this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I fixed one thing, and I think I mostly know how to fix the thing. But, you know, that also requires
lizard,
a lot of things that I don't have right now. And there's your lizard.
Including spoons.
Oh. I remember having spoons.
I have said to Kay more than once, I used to be a person who was up before 6 a.m. every morning doing a bunch of things, and then I would do things all day and then go to bed at like 11 o'clock at night and then get up and
Leap Nick, thank you so much for the subscription. 3 months. So appreciated. Welcome on in. Yes, speaking of getting up at 6 a.m. and going till 11.
yeah.
Axe.
So my advice for PAX is do not stay up until 4:30 in the morning unless you're accustomed to staying up to 4:30 in the morning. Because I was okay, but I also took a nap that afternoon.
Flames.
Yes.
Flames. On the side of my face. Breathing. Breath.
OBS
Heaving breath.
Yes, I'm just going to do these redeems manually. Because I can do that. But yes, our dear friend Ren, whom I had known in the circle for ages, we finally met in person at PAX Unplugged this year. And as it turns out, he's a great friend of Emily Salty Queer, who's a great friend. And it was like, wait, I didn't know we had that connection. You belong to Salty Queer? You already, you're us. Get in here. They have all of the inspiration. They want to do all of the things. And it is truly impressive. Which is, you know, that Conspiration is a real thing. That definitely happens. I've got the con crash, not in the oh no. I had such a good time and now I have the depressed. I just have the con crash and the I cannot get my energy back. It does not matter how much I sleep or how much I exercise and then sleep. I'm just crashed. Don't have FOMO this year. Got to do all the things I wanted to do, I think. Where are you on that scale, David? And if you went to PAX or we're not at PAX, did you get the FOMO? Tell us in chat. We want to hear about it.
So, one, when it comes to FOMO, I have a lot of experience with that because I went to my first PAX this year despite being in the space for years at this point. But I will say, hello, Kato. I was actually thinking about you earlier today. I'm going to message you.
Always have the FOMO. Yeah.
But I feel like I really didn't do a whole lot at PAX because I had such a hard time getting around. So I'd get up, go to a thing, and then be like, oh no, I'm depleted, and then go back to the room, take a nap, wake up, the con was over, head down to the bar, hang out at the bar, go to bed, get up, and then repeat for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say a couple of things. For me, the most important part of PAX was meeting all the people. Um, and for that, I met everyone that I wanted to meet Friday. By like Friday at midnight. And I think I told Kay at one point, I was like,
Yeah.
listen, everything else from here is gravy because I've met all the people that I've wanted to meet. And
Yes.
I did meet really incredible people after that, but they weren't on my like checklist of people I have to meet. Like it was a nice bonus. Um but there was like really there was like a lot of stuff that next year I'm looking forward to doing. Like next year I'm looking forward to spending more time wandering the expo floor because I feel like there was a lot of cool stuff that I missed. Um Next year I'm really looking forward to sitting and playing a lot more games because I did get to play Mimics and Misfits Matt's. God, that is a mouthful. I got to play his game, Duality, which is awesome, by the way.
It is.
But I know that there are a lot of other games. Like Candace had a table at Red Bull's event.
Winged Bull Tavern.
Yes, and like we showed up, but by the time we got there, I had already been on my feet for a time, and I was like, I can't sit here for 2 hours and play a game. And so I said hi to a bunch of people that I left. And there was just, and then also I wanted to spend a lot more time like wandering into the other side of tabletop because like everything I know about Warhammer I learned at a video game.
Yes.
And everything I know about Magic the Gathering I learned watching one dude on TikTok. And there were a lot of other like board games and a lot of people doing things that I just have no reference for that I'd be interested in just like wandering into and checking out and watching all the nerds do nerdling things. Like that would be a good time. So I do feel like, wow, mission accomplished at PAX. I do feel like there was a lot there that I didn't get to do or see or experience.
Absolutely. And even when you're in top condition, right? You're gonna miss something.
Yeah. It is impossible to do everything.
Yes.
And I'd argue if you're ambitious enough, it's impossible to even do all the things that you want to do.
Ilaria says, I had a weird dream where I was DMing Amelia Tyler on Discord and somehow Kay answered, and this is relevant because post-PAX humbug was discussed in their dream for no good reason, which is very funny. Rex says the library of games at the PAX intersection is fantastic for trying out older games, which is very true. Lurking Writer says it's less fear of missing out and more domo, arigato, Mr. Roboto, disappointment of missing out, which is, oh my goodness, I have been a part of that so many times. Kato wants to make sure that David knows that LobbyCon is fine. Look, LobbyCon is often the best part of the con. Yeah. And Lamia says, I felt like I missed out with seeing so many people, but it's not quite FOMO because I was prepared to be in work mode. And yeah, I do think the mentality that you have going into it can make a really big difference. As I think a lot of y'all know, I am from the video game side of things, and you know, I was a journalist and working in and around video games for many, many, many years before I got into tabletop. And I would work E3 and I would get the invites to the parties and PAX East, PAX West, San Diego Comic-Con. I would go to the con and then hit all of the parties and know, you know, simply because of who I knew, I was able to get into these really cool things that weren't like even open to the general public. And PAX Unplugged is very different from that. Like, there are some parties, they tend to be open to the public with an RSVP kind of thing, but they're definitely not the kinds of parties, certainly not the E3 parties. David was there, but was the one year I ended up at some after E3 party. Hey, Zeal. Enjoy dinner. I hope you find something yummy. I was at some after E3 party where Snoop Dogg was DJing.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, like, it was wild. And so I showed up to PAX Unplugged, and I'm like, this is not video games. You know, I'm not a big deal anywhere, but I knew the right people to get into parties there. And I left my first PAX Unplugged, like, in my head with the knowledge that, like, this is different. You know, you're newer to the space. It's just yeah, Snoop Dogg was DJing. It was very strange. Like, this is a different kind of con. You're very new in this space. You know, this isn't E3. But even with that logic and knowing that, like, the whole train ride home and like the whole next couple days, I hit like this depression of like, I didn't do enough. I didn't network enough. I didn't do the things that you need and are supposed to do at these conventions, even though I absolutely had. I 100% had done everything that I coulda, shoulda, woulda needed to do there. But, you know, sometimes brains are jerks. Brains are often the enemy. They're the worst. I see David focus typing.
I'm talking to a friend of mine about the food at PAX. And also, I realize the biggest sin I committed is I didn't get a Philly cheesesteak while I was in Philly. But I will remedy that next year.
Let's see. Here, I found I'll post a couple of these Snoop Dogg DJing photos in the Discord for anyone who is super excited for this, because it was one of the most surreal experiences I had. I'd fly to the US for one of those. I'm gonna say something bold and controversial. I'm not the biggest Philly cheesesteak fan. I don't dislike them. Just doesn't excite me. It should be easier next year without the marathon crowd and the street closures. I mean, it's always a night. Last year, I think it was the parade. Parade was happening. There's always something, y'all. First meal I got in Philly was a cheesesteak. Look, that is fair and valid, and now I'm suddenly very hungry, and that's inconvenient because we're still gonna be here for a little bit.
Yeah, and it's funny because I didn't even like think about it. Like, I had months to think about like the con, and I talked all this shit about Philly, and then I had 5 hours on the plane. And then I got there and like had dinner with a friend of mine, so I could have gone anywhere. And then had the whole weekend, and then came all the way back. And then a week went by, and then I went, I didn't have the local cultural food.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like going to New Orleans and not getting beignets. It's like, what were you even doing? You fool.
That is fair.
But next year.
Yeah. So I definitely walked away inspired and wanting to do more things. And, you know, I am. But unfortunately, like, so much has happened in the past couple months. Like, I don't have the energy to get as excited about things as I coulda, woulda, shoulda, because I'm just like drained. So I'm at least getting to avoid that little bit of drama there. if you are in the Discord, I posted a couple pictures of DJ Snoop. Sad to say, I've only ever spent a total of about 5 hours in Philly, and it was within the airport for a layover. That's rough. I have never had a cheesesteak in Philly. I did get D-Nick's pork sandwich. God, I'm getting so hungry. Yeah, the exhaustion is such a thing. And close up into Philly was a cheese spread called Philadelphia. That is fair. But yeah, I know a lot of people who hit the con crash pretty hard, which is it is a normal thing, but you are so not prepared for it if you haven't been through it before. Like, it can sneak up on you, and once you know what it is, I mean, at least for me, I can only speak from my experience. Sometimes I know I have the potential to get con crash. I definitely can. Especially if I've got something really big to look forward to. You know, I am sure that the first PAX Unplugged that I get to do an AP, I will con crash after that, because that will be my first, like, on stage AP, and I'm sure I will just be so excited and also mentally beat myself up so much about it that I will con crash. But, you know, I talk for a living. So panels are not that intimidating for me. But the first couple years, I definitely con crash. When you know it's coming, at least for me, I could be like, okay, I feel this way. I understand why I feel this way. I just have to ride this out and, like, tell myself, okay, self, it's okay that you feel this way. You feel this way because of this. I mean, Rex, you should, but also good luck. Those APs are so difficult to get. Also, even though Rex was not there, congrats on a completely full and line-capped panel. Holy cats.
It's funny because I have to think about how other people react to, like, public speaking and, like, being up on a stage, because for me it's not an issue at all, and I realize it's not an issue at all because deep ducky lore here. Not only am I a classically trained actor, like, went to acting classes from a reputable school, but I was first on camera for a nationally televised commercial at 5 years old. Like, I was a child actor. Like, there were a couple of movies where I was the second choice to be one of the main characters in the movie.
You could have taken Macaulay Culkin's job.
Listen, I saw a tweet about Home Alone where it's like, Kevin McAllister could have called the cops. Like, there were all sorts of things that he could have done, but he didn't do those. Instead, he chose to hurt those men. He hunted them. He enjoyed it. And you know what? 100% correct. 2, for years now, there has been discussions about a Home Alone sequel. And Macaulay Culkin has said he's down to play an adult Kevin McAllister. And they would get my $20 to see that movie.
Like,
I don't care how bad it is. I don't care if it's a January release. I would go.
Slaughter Night. Or what was the Santa Slay? What was the Christmas slasher movie?
Oh, there have been a couple of them. But yeah, no, the big one that you're talking about.
Yeah. But you all know what I'm saying. That one, except it's
Yeah.
an adult Kevin McAllister.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm here for this. Can't be worse than Home Alone 3. Look. Seriously. You were in a
Silent Night
McDonald's
Dead.
commercial?
Yep.
Silent Night. Yes, that was it.
But so getting on stage and being in front of a bunch of people, like, I've literally been doing that all my life. So for me, it's like I have an easier time getting on a stage and talking to people than talking to someone hot at a bar.
I
Like one of those is way easier than the other.
my first by the time I took my first improv class, Santa's Sleigh, that was another one. Um, when I took my first improv class, you know, we get to the end of it and they're like, "Oh, you should invite," and it was like online. It was a Zoom on top of that because it was during the pandemic, and they were like, "You need, you know, this is when we're doing our final show. You should invite people because you need to get used to people, you know, watching you." And da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't. It's fine. It's fine. I do this already. I do this, but with more rules on an
Right.
almost weekly basis. So we're good. Christmas date with the Grinch. Yeah, sorry, David. Other
No,
people
just,
getting on stage, being afraid.
yeah. So like, I've talked to people not just at PAX, but like over the years where they're like, "Oh man, I had to get up in a room of like 20 of my coworkers and say a thing," and I was just like, I've sung into a microphone in front of a room of 5,000 people, including people who are now bigwigs at the Vatican. Like,
Was it karaoke?
like, thank God, no. But I was in a choir back when religion was a thing.
Hey, Ribbon. Welcome on in.
So yeah, so like for me, that isn't necessarily an issue, but I can totally understand why it would be an issue for other people. But also when Kay runs an AP at PAX, it will be the most popular, most successful AP they've ever had, and they're not ready for it yet.
My dude, Acquisitions Inc. exists.
I mean, true. However, comma.
But yeah, I have definitely walked away from cons having that super conspiration and wanting to do all the things. And it's extra funny because I confuse everyone. I look like an extrovert. And I play the part very well for a time. And then I just cap out. And so usually by the end of a convention, like convention ends, I go home and I'm like, don't even think about me for about 3 days. Like, I'm not replying to emails. I'm not replying to your Discord messages. This is nothing personal. I just need to detox off of people. I am so tired. My social battery has gone beyond blinking and is just hard shut down. Which then gets me in trouble with people for reasons I fully understand, because people, yes, do not perceive me. Perceiving me is too much social for me. But this is terrible for all my extrovert friends who I just spent, depending on the con, 3 to 6 days hanging out with, who were like, but we had so much fun and we could just keep the fun going. And like, I'm starting to crash because I was high on all the energy of being around other people, and now I don't have those other people around, so I need this drip feed so I can keep my high going. And I'm like, I'm dead. Let me die. I will resurrect like Jesus in 3 days, roughly. But until then, I don't exist. Please leave me alone.
It's funny because like at this point, I know Kay pretty well. And I have been at an event with Kay at a bar, and I looked over and I saw the engine turn off, the gas run dry. And I walk over, like, interrupt. Kay was talking to like this like really cute woman. And so when I walked up, she immediately wasn't interested anymore and like bipped off somewhere else. I was like, okay, mission accomplished. And then Kay looks at me, and before I could say anything, she's like, all right, we're getting out of here. And then immediately orders a lift, and then we're gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes.
Like, I need, at the end of the day, I can go a couple days. If I'm prepared, if I am mentally prepared for it, I can go like a week being hyper social. But when that's, I need walls between me and the rest of the world. I can never have a roommate. Just leave me alone. Affectionately. It's not you, it's me. Leave me alone. But I have definitely like had that it didn't happen this year because I was already social battery was blinking before PAX even started.
Yeah.
But I have gotten home from a PAX and been like, I can't with people, but I'm gonna write all the things. And David's got a little bit of that.
It's funny because one of my big takeaways from PAX was how inspired I was / am to do stuff. Um, my productivity does not reflect my output, but that is a different story. But but I get back and I immediately have con crud, and so I'm like, okay, well, I was planning on spending time in bed anyway, so this is fine. And then like a week goes by and I'm still stuck in bed. And I'm like, boy, howdy, this con crud. Oh, wait, it's not con crud. My body is still recovering from PAX. It's been a week. And then like I get to like the end of the second week and I'm like, oh, I'm finally feeling like a person. But that whole time I was like laying in bed going, oh man, I'm really excited to like do things and work on things. Except so there was a long stretch of time. So like I've spent most of my adult career working from home doing various things. And like, yeah, I would like go outside to like meet clients and stuff, but on a day to day, it would be like get up, stumble over to computer, start typing. Um, but there was a point whereby like 2 hours of my workday was just answering emails or reading a thing. And so I could do that from bed, especially since I had a laptop that I could put in bed. So I was accustomed to like just wake up in the morning, roll over, grab phone, start writing email. Um, but the things that I want to do now, like I have to review a document that's an entirely new system that I haven't played before. And then there's a bunch of like reference material I gotta dig through and so on, where I can't do that in bed. And so I'm laying in bed going, oh man, it sure be nice to like do the things that I would get up out of bed and then like go over to the computer, sit down, get up, and then immediately go back to bed and be like, nope, not today, Satan.
Yeah. Rex says the drive home does me a world of good as a reset. No crowds, no chatter, just the car with the radio off and silent. Look, that's sweet silence. That first hit of silence after a social thing when your batteries run out. Oh, gods. I've never done crack, but I imagine it's something
Not yet.
like that.
What's funny is every time I've gotten into a lift with Kay, the driver immediately starts talking to us. And I'm 90% sure it's Kay energy because everybody likes talking to Kay.
I feel like there is something about me that is infinitely approachable and I don't know why.
But it might also be like 10% of that is probably just because we're an odd couple. Like you see us both get into a car or like see us together and people are like, but if you drive Uber or Lyft, if you drive rideshare and you want 5 stars from me, if I get into that car and you're like, so you're David? I'm like, yeah, I'm David. They're like, all right, bet. And then you say nothing else for the rest of the trip, immediate 5 stars. And what's funny is on the way home from PAX, because we got the same flight home from PAX, but we sat separately. And I did not realize how much I could sleep on a plane, but of that 5-hour trip, I slept like 3 hours. But even though I had like podcasts downloaded on my phone, and even though I forgot that in-flight movies were a thing, because I figured you'd have to pay for everything, but apparently they still offer in-flight movies for free, which, you know, airlines, good for you. Thank you for offering something that you haven't monetized. But of those 2 hours that I was awake and sitting in my chair, I think I had something playing like 15 minutes. I think I spent like an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes just in silence on the plane, kind of like looking out the window and just like being there. Because boy, howdy. And the same thing on the train ride home. It takes me, my train ride home from Kay's house is like an hour and a half. I think, again, I only listened to like 15 minutes worth of podcasts. And I should have used that time because I'm listening to a podcast that is relevant to a thing that I'm doing next year. However, the silence, the sitting there and staring and listening to the train noises and looking outside at all the swimming pools in people's backyards, delightful. 10 out of 10 would do it again. The silence that you get on a trip, unmatched.
Mommy says you should turn on the silent rides, and Ilaria agrees. Yeah, that's
I
an
didn't even know
option
that
now.
was an option.
Yeah, that's an option now.
I will have to
Watching
look into it.
Well,
I generally ignore.
flights. Yeah, I'm like you, Ilaria. I flew from LA to Tel Aviv and back. The flight back wasn't as bad, but the flight there was a 25-hour travel time just from the airport, like from airport to airport. And even with some special gummies, I did not sleep 1 minute of that entire flight. I have to do something to distract me at all times on a plane, or remember that I am very high up in the air in a metal box. Yeah, look, if you haven't watched American Gods, don't watch or read American Gods. That will not help your mental state at all with that. Silent ride, homeward drive, all is calm, all is fine. Sit in heavenly peace. Sit in heavenly peace. Yeah, if you sit next to me on an airplane and you start talking at me, I cannot be held responsible for my actions. That's all I have to say. Someone who's extremely afraid of heights gets this. Yes, I used to not sleep at all when I was younger. Now I'm out before we take off. I am so jelly. Yeah, I'm like, I need a window seat because I the only person I have inconvenienced like this in the past several years, which includes overseas trips to let me get up and go to the bathroom, is David going to PAX for whole reasons. I need a window seat. Because I do like the window, yes, but that's not. I need to be left alone. I don't need to get up so you could pee 20 times. I need to be against the wall with my headphones, with my game. Leave me alone. I'm playing. I just need to not focus on how long. Because for me, there's no fear of flying. I'm afraid of heights, but it doesn't affect me in an airplane for some reason. But I'm like, if I think about how long we've been on the plane and how long we have to go, every muscle in my body will start screaming in protest. So leave me alone. I am farming. I am building a farm. You do not exist in my farm. Therefore, you do not exist in my reality right now. I have a mission to prep for, so sleeping wasn't really an option. Yeah, exactly. I'm the opposite. I fell asleep on transportation so fast if I'm not the one driving. My brother is like that, and one of my really good friends is like that. I remember at one point when my insomnia was so bad, just in general, didn't matter where I was. We hop in a car. It's me, my mom, my dad, my brother. And my brother looks around, he's like, how long we got? 20 minutes? We're going to be at 20 minutes? Okay, cool. Out. Asleep, snoring immediately. And I'm sitting in the back seat, just glaring daggers. If looks could kill, he would have. And I'm just like, and of course, my mom is so entertained. She's like, what's wrong? I'm like, he took all the sleep. He took it. He took it. I have none because he took it. I just don't fit in most airline seats anymore. I need to make more money so I can fly business class. That is one thing I am grateful for. I am so short that the lack of leg room does not bother me. I'm lucky if my feet can touch the floor on an airplane. So, we're good. That's my secret cap. I'm always tired. I don't have that part until we're about 6 to 7 hours in, and then I get a sudden urge to get up and go for a walk outside, and then it's sardine and tin can hits me hard. That's a good reason to sleep through it, but you can't, Yeah, that's rough.
Also, if you go to a con, don't do what Kay did and immediately work directly after the con, because we got back Monday Kay went to bed, got up, put on clothes, and left the house to go to work.
Look,
If you can, make sure you don't have to work after that.
look, I did put in for time off for 2 days after that convention, but then I got laid off. And the office had well, your first 30 days are in office, and this is part of your first 30 days, so get back here. Yeah, some of us have 9 to 5s. Look, again, this is my...
And
I put in the time off. Then I just lost my job.
yeah, as if you have a 9 to 5, make sure that it include your part of your compensation is paid time off, and then use that paid time off strategically. Because if you are anything like me, I am planning my paid time off for specific video game releases. Like the next Zelda that comes out, whatever job I'm working, I'm not going to be there that day. I'm not going to be there that day, the next day, or the day after that.
What is wrong with my Zoom? What?
Honestly, I thought my internet went out. I was like, oh no, absolutely not.
Hold on, camera is just being... Now here's where it's going to get fun. Because, okay, good. And now it's just completely changed. It has zoomed out and everything. This is wild, y'all. I was worried that, I'd open up Zoom again. I'd plug the camera back in and OBS would go, no, that's mine. And I would not be able to have a camera. But we're good. We're good. The Grinch stole K instead of Christmas. Exactly. Some of us have part-time 3 to 11 starting next week. Congrats, Ribbon. I know you've been hunting for a while. I'm so happy for you. But yes, getting back on topic. Not that David has, with love, with all of the affection in the world. Not that you've been great at managing the Conspiration. Yeah. What are your tips for how to deal with all of the ideas and all the things you want to do for Conspiration?
First recognize that no matter how much or how little you want to do, you're not going to have the energy, time, or ability to do all the things immediately. It's just not a thing. And then the second thing is, one, do everything you can to avoid con crud. And two, whether you avoid con crud or not, make sure you budget time for yourself to relax. Because if you don't, you'll end up like Kay and I, where Kay got back, went to work for 2 days, and then cooked a feast for Thanksgiving, and then had to clean up after said feast. And now, weeks later, is still recovering from the nightmare that was the past 2 months. Or like me, where I pushed myself pretty hard when physically I have a lot of limitations. And then on top of that, I had con crud. So I've mostly been stuck in bed.
You skipped over the most ridiculous thing that I did after getting back.
What am I forgetting?
Hauling an 8-foot tree 2 miles in a market cart in the most Grinch that stole Christmas maneuver ever. The single most Grinch that stole. I had a tiny little market cart, one of the little plastic ones, with an 8-foot bound up tree. Look, Costco had trees for $45. And I'm like, well, they're gonna sell out. Right? They're not, so I have to get it now. So I went and got a $20 little plastic market cart, put the tree in it, dragged it behind my back with the tree balanced along my spine and hanging out above my head, walking 2 miles down a major thoroughfare, looking like the Grinch who stole Christmas. Hey, Dino, welcome in. Make a Conspiration saving throw. Exactly. Yeah, that was not the wisest move I ever made, but also I got an 8-foot tall tree in my house for less than $50.
That tree is large. Okay,
it's so large,
gigantic.
It is so large. I had to cut some of the top off just to put the tree topper on it. Like, it was so funny. But yes, if you can, like David said, if you can, request time off. Like, do that for yourself if you are able to. It's not always an option. For some of us, you know, it's just not an option because it was a new job. For some people, you need the income after the con, you know, or you've used all your time off, but do what you can to be gentle to yourself. I will also say when Conspiration strikes, because here's part of the problem, is you have all of the ideas, but you are stuck at work, or you don't have the energy, or there's all these various different things that can happen. So I'm finally in a place where I have a dry erase board again. My old apartment was giant, but had no good wall hanging space. So I could not put my whiteboard up. I'll do a whiteboard of like ideas, which can be, you know, I don't know, Thundercats in outer space, right? From that, just a weird ass idea like that, to game with put down the people you're thinking about inviting, you want to work with, or if you're David, put a notebook by your bed and just, you know, follow up with so and so, because you're gonna have all these ideas and you're gonna have all this, and if you don't get it out, it's going to just vibrate inside of you. And then after a while, when the conspiration starts to wear off, you're like, I had ideas, what were they? And there is nothing more infuriating. We all know how it is. I walked into this room. Why did I walk into this room? Why am I here? Frick. Dear boss, can I have some time off this month? Sure. What are the benefits of being self-employed? Yes.
And two pieces of advice, and they're more like generalized writing advice, because I've spent a lot of time in my career encouraging people to do the thing that they want to do. One, make sure that you're set up for success, because if you're like me, you know, you put a pile of books in your chair, in your computer chair, or your desktop is covered in stuff.
All of your files are named random button key smash.
Right. Listen, it's a brilliant organizational scheme.
At one point, I watched David's soul leave his body because he went button key smash save, and it's like, file named this already exists.
But so, you know, if you're doing art, then have a space where your tablet or your easel or your sketchbook is, with a chair or a standing area that's clear and like ready to go. Because the second piece of advice is try to book out an hour in your schedule. Even if you don't have the energy, block out an hour. If you don't have an hour, block out 30 minutes. If you don't have 30 minutes, then 15 minutes. If you don't have 15 minutes, 5 minutes. And you have 5 minutes to work on the thing that you want to work on. And some of the both longest and most productive writing sessions I've ever had have been, I've got 5 minutes of energy in me. I am going to take these 5 minutes and dump words on this page, get a paragraph, and then I'll be done. At one point, I woke up on a Sunday morning, reached over before sunrise, reached over the side of my bed, grabbed the near empty bottle of whiskey that was by my bed, dumped that into my gullet, then grabbed my laptop and started typing. And the sun went down before I started, because I was like, I've got like 5 minutes before I need to pee. I'm going to do some writing. And turned out one of my best short stories ever. But make the time, and even if, and don't beat yourself up if you don't use the time, but make the time and make the space, because one, you know, that work has a momentum, and You want to utilize that momentum. Just getting started is the hardest part. And two, there are many, many, many published books that you have read where I guarantee you they were written 15 minutes at a time, an hour at a time. Not everybody can be Stephen King, not everybody can be Danielle Steele, because Danielle Steele will write for 16 hours a day, every day for 3 months straight, then take a week off. And then Danielle Steele, love her or hate her, she's one of the few authors where she'll churn out 6 books in a year and she's written every word. There's no ghostwriter, there's no written with. Like it's all her, because she's a demon, because she is insane, because she is a monster. And she is on tape saying, do not be like me. What I'm doing is unhealthy and unsustainable. Don't do it. I'm just a maniac.
Laurie says, I get the best ideas when I'm in bed or in the shower. By the time I make it to my PC to make a rough draft or notes, it's all gone. Yes, David has been witness to some of my best ideas waking up at 3 a.m, pulling out my phone, voice to text, horrific idea, I don't know, is this creepy or silly? Send. And then my phone rings to the point where it breaks through my do not disturb because David's like, are you okay? That was the most fucked up shit I've ever heard. Ribbon says she recommends the Hapanachi Techno notebook/planner. Tiny, super easy to write stuff in. They don't have. If she doesn't have hers, she uses the Notes app. Ilaria has done the Key Smash selfie that already exists. DC says I add notes to my Obsidian Vault on my phone, and I hope it makes sense later. David's gotten messages from me that make no sense.
I actually have one of my randomly titled notepad files on my computer is just a bank of ludicrous things that Kay has sent me.
I am terrified. I did not know this.
You didn't know that I kept notes on you?
No.
I keep notes on all my important people in my life. Do I remember anyone's birthday? Absolutely not. Do I remember that there was a really specific thing that you didn't like to eat? Absolutely.
This is true. David will remember. Ribbon says learning Unreal has made me up my file naming game. Now I've got a system of file category _ name. Unreal, and there are various things that will make you do that. In our writing Discord, we mostly run 15-minute sprints with the sprint bot just for the sake of a quick something creative. It doesn't have to be an hours-long investment. Exactly. It's liberating to say it's okay to just work 10 minutes on this. DC says I was hired to write a draft of a screenplay once, 90 minutes, so I did about 10 pages a day.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Listen, obviously I have a bone to pick with George Lucas. However, one of those bones to pick is in B-roll interviews that he did for the first of the sequels, A Phantom Menace. He was like, oh man, it was so tough writing the script for this because, I only managed to write like 10 pages in a day. And some days I only managed like 1 page. And I was just like, you know what? You know what the difference between all of you amateurs out there and a professional writer? As a professional writer, 2 things. There are 2 differences. 1, if you get paid to do a thing, you are now a professional. Like if you throw paint on the side of somebody's house and they slip you a crisp $1 bill, then you are a professional painter. 2, writers write. So if you tell me that as one of the biggest director, producer, writer of all time, that you struggle to churn out 1 page of your magnum opus, of your baby, then you're going to wake up one day with my hands around your neck in Minecraft. That said, and at one point I saw a prominent, not just TV writer, but comic book writer talk about writer's block, because he and I share the same idea in I don't believe in writer's block, and neither does he. Because a lot of writer's block is the thing that you are trying to write is not interesting. You are bored writing it. And if you are bored writing it, one, you're not going to be able to write it. And two, if you do write it, then the people who read it or watch it or whatever will also be bored. So just skip to the interesting parts.
Dino says, I feel called out because I'm in Minecraft right now. Ed Zeal says, Nods, that's how I became a professional dancer with the most niche troupe possible. Yes, technically, I am a professional dungeon master and a professional
Right.
D&D player because I have been paid to do both.
Mm-hmm. But when but yeah, set yourself up for success. Set yourself up so that you can take those 5 minutes, those 15 minutes, and sit down and get into it as quickly as possible. Remove as many barriers from doing things as possible. Like, I make sure I do all my social media browsing and like all my political news and everything before I get out of bed so that I can sit at my computer, and I have fewer excuses to procrastinate. Now, do I then still procrastinate for like 2, 3, 6, 12 hours? Absolutely. However, it's not wasted on reading political news or like, sports grips. Oh, Gilmore,
It
king
is
in
that.
his castle.
It is that. Nick Scuzzy says, my mortgage does not care about my writer's block. Yes. Also, professional bouncy castle lifeguard. Excellent. So yeah, and then also, like, another thing that you can do is professional fire starter. I love this. Another thing that you can do to help just deal with this is not me, right? Let me be clear. I am not the person post-con, at least not for a couple days. But this is D&D. This is TTRPGs. It is full. It is freaking full of extrovert drama kids. Right? Reach out to your fellow extroverts who you met at the con, who you know are also going to be bubbling, and reach out and be like, hey, I am excited, I want to do this. I'm excited for that. And start building those connections and start, even if you're not writing 20 pages, right? Check in. Hey, we talked about blank. Are you interested? Cool. Here's other people I think would be good. Or I've got a rough idea, and start world building that together, because then it's not all on you.
Yeah, like, I'm someone who has written hundreds of pages in the same universe, in the same story. It's on a dead hard drive now, and I'm a little sad about it, but it's fine because it was probably garbage. But there have been times where I've sat in front of a blank page for literally hours, and then I've been like, okay, I need an adult. And then Kay hops on a call and is like, so what do you need? And I'm like, I need a grown up. And then 5 minutes of conversation, I'm like, oh, this should have been obvious to me. And I'm someone who has, at this point, decades of experience in writing.
Y'all,
And sometimes you just...
No joke. Okay, how do I make this not a sex dungeon?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do I make this not
Kay,
a sex dungeon?
I need to not make this a weird kink thing. Like I need an ace perspective here. Please help. Oh my God.
Also, David, I threw you a new link because your captions have died. Everything's out to get you.
Those dastardly bastards. Yep, that thing is dead.
I am getting such a stink eye here. I will adjust the view so you all can appreciate the side eye, the bombastic side eye that I. There's so much.
Oh yeah, there he is. Listen, having met Gilmore in real life multiple times, he is a delight.
He is so sweet. He's just demanding, and he has a shitty face. And also, Rex, I love that you were a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. That's great. So yes, work with your other extroverts, reach out to people, And again, if you don't know if this person's an extrovert, if it's me, if someone you know is an introvert, like, send an email or send a message and be like, hey, just touching base, right? And understand that the person will get back to you when they are able to. But hey, maybe you'll get an extrovert or an introvert who didn't burn themselves out, and you'll get to brainstorm right away. So that's some of our tips on how to deal with conspiration. If you have ideas, if you have tricks, please share them. There is an article that we linked before. I will link it again just because it is very good. But there's a great article about how to handle con crash, with some tips of how to get over that. David, you definitely dealt with a con crash after the E3 that I dragged you to.
Oh man. So, and that's an important thing, is because like con crash hits different people in different ways. Like I said, I had no problem getting up on stage. And to be very clear, I am incredibly happy to have met the people that I met at PAX, but I didn't get home and then immediately get hit with a sense of loneliness, because I am a creature of solitude. And I am also a homebody. Like, I spent 6 months in the hospital. For like 5 3/4 of those months, I saw the sky once, and I did not notice it until I got out. I was like, "Oh, that's what the sky looks like," because I'm in the building. Okay, I am at home. But with stuff like what I did to E3, or when I did San Diego Comic-Con, which, this is going to be a spicy take. I do not recommend San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh no, the bubbles burst. It's not good anymore.
Yeah, like, it's not good anymore. You've got a minimum 250, 300,000 people descending on that thing. It's like you spend more time waiting in line there than you do waiting in line for rides at Disneyland. Like,
and their line system, everyone knows I hate the mouse. I do not like Disney. Their queuing system, their line system is quite good. It's obnoxious how good it is. I've watched an entire documentary on the science behind their lines. Continue.
But for me, it was much like Kay recharging social battery, especially with PAX, but with every single con that I've been to, except for this one, I obtained pain pills that you shouldn't be able to get normally in order to survive those things, because just being on your feet for 12 hours a day in shitty tennis shoes is brutal on your body.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is knowing yourself and knowing the sorts of things that you're going to have to deal with. So just like I packed pain medication, if you know that you're going to get lonely after being with a bunch of people, then like plan a play date with a buddy. A lot of my community I interface with on Zoom and Discord. And if I'm feeling a particular type of way, I'm like, hey, buddy, we're going to have a call on such and such a day. Or, hey, this game came out, we're going to play it together.
Ribbon has a top tier hack, which is, her trick is just to not go to a con, which also works for Lurking Rider. Yes, shockingly cheap. Rex was Raphael, which is, of all of them, I feel. Right. However, did not get to choose the costume. He was assigned the costume, which is
okay, fair. because I was been like, easy Donatello.
Yeah. I could also see Mikey.
Yeah.
Rex got the himbo vibes. Ilaria says, going into stream, I thought you were going to be talking about cons, like running a con job, conning people, and how to cope with people being conned and crashing out. I don't know why that made sense to me, but it did. I have opinions on how to run cons in TTRPGs, either as a campaign or as a character. But that is not today.
And I'm not going to name names, but all I will say is this: of the con artists in my family, I am not one of them.
Rex says Leo is closer to him now, but at the time, at 19 years old, he was closer to Raph.
Oh wow, wow.
Biggest problem with social battery is not having a mobile power pack / recharger. And then when I get back to home base, fast charging refuses to work. Look, that's me right now. Like, I finally, the week after PAX, got my clearance to work from home. So it immediately went to, oh, wow. I don't know why that's popping up those things on the redeems. I'm going to have to fight that battle, but hashtag not today. I went to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then got my clearance to work from home Thursday, Friday, and I go back into the office tomorrow. So I am like, I have been hermiting. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I am still not ready to go back in tomorrow, but I get to do some cool stuff tomorrow. So it's cool. It's fine. I like how even David's post-con life advice leans into the sex dungeon concept.
One of my favorite stories about running one of our early tables. Kay gets on a call. Everybody gets in. We're talking about lines, veils, and consent. And then Kay says, listen, organizing a TTRPG is like organizing group sex. And I was like, I'm glad she said that and not me. Because between the two of us.
Yeah, that entire thing melted down. Yes, hermits unite separately. Grateful for my job because I don't have to do it in person, but I spend the majority of time. I do have to do it in person, but I spend the majority of time alone. That definitely helps. But yes, for Con Crash, you know, there's a lot of really great tips. Part of it is just being aware of what's happening and why. Because I don't know about y'all, but when my brain chemistry starts messing with me and I don't understand why, but once I do understand, then I can kind of cope better.
And something that's mentioned in the article, but I feel like people don't take seriously enough, is have something good to eat. Because I crashed at Kay's the night before we went. And I showed up before Kay got home. And Kay's fridge was empty. There wasn't even iced tea in the fridge, okay? Because Kay is like, I'm going to be gone for a week, so why would I have stuff in my fridge? Which makes total sense. I don't want food
going to waste.
But then when we got back, we were in the car on the way back talking about delivery. And then the second we got in the door, we ordered something.
You ordered before we got in the door. That food was there so close to our arrival. It was excellent. Your timing was top tier.
And then when we got done that last night of E3, my house was halfway to Kay's house. So Kay stopped by my place for a couple of hours where I didn't just get drunk. I got floor drunk. And
I broke David by showing him The Life of Brian for the first
time. But we ordered, and it's funny because where I lived at the time, literally around the corner, there was a strip mall that had a bunch of food places in it. And we ordered from the Thai place in that strip mall, and we ordered delivery. Because we're like, we're not walking another step. But it was still really important to have not just food, but something really good. Actually, both times it's been Thai food.
Part of my thing is I allow myself to eat what I have to eat at a convention, because eating at a convention is hard enough. Between finding the food, lines, crowds, it is tough. So I'm like, if I eat chicken nuggies the whole time because chicken tenders are the only thing that I can get, I get it. So when I'm done with the convention, I'm like, I want meat, carbs, vegetables. Like, I need vegetables so bad. So Thai tends to be just the perfect.
But make sure that you not only have something good to eat, but something to look forward to. Because people one discount the importance of food, and then also people discount the importance of food as an aspect of community. Like, if you're feeling lonely, a meal with someone you care about goes a long way to like remedying that. Like, we got back, had Thai food, and then Thanksgiving was like 2 days later, and I had a screaming migraine on Thanksgiving, but I still managed to throw a turkey in the oven. And when I tell you, by Saturday morning, I was 72% turkey sandwich. Like,
Flavia
I kind of wish I
says,
had a turkey to put in the oven right now because those turkey sandwiches are so good.
Flavia says they get frozen food, non-perishables, and snacks, so they have an already paid for stuff when they get home, which is also good and fair and valid. Look, y'all, I'm from the South. I'm from an area where flash floods happen and various things happen, and you cannot get to the store. So I always keep a variety of frozen foods. Right now, I've got a whole frozen lasagna in my freezer, just in case I can't get food, can't afford food, or just cannot physically bring myself to cook, which does happen.
I remember after I went to San Diego Comic-Con, I had 2 steaks in the freezer, and I got a burger from Fat Burger. And for those of you who do not have a Fat Burger, take the biggest burger you've ever had in your life and double the size, and that's the kind of burger that I'm talking about. Like, I have a big burger. Because sometimes you just need meat in your mouth in order to make you happy.
Well, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So Con Crash, there's lots of articles. The article we've linked, it's really good. How do you deal, David, with FOMO, or as Lurking Writer pointed out, was it DOMO, depression from missing out? Because this was your first year going to PAX Unplugged, but there's been several years where I've gone and you've just been getting the stories.
First you do 2 things. You pout and you cry. No. For me, I'm always really happy for my friends when they get to do cool things. So for me, FOMO is always, it's an opportunity to see friends that I'm missing out on. And like, that's the hard part. It's not missing the like cool thing. But and for people who go to things, when you get back, talk to your friends about them, because I've had people go do like really cool stuff, and then they get home and I'm like, so how was it? And they're like, oh, it was fine. And I'm like, no, you sit your ass down and you tell me every single detail, because part of it is sharing the experience from someone who was there doing the thing. And they're like, well, I feel uncomfortable talking about it because you weren't there. And it's like, I've made peace with the fact that I didn't go, but I did not make peace with the fact of you not telling me about it. So sit down and tell me about it. So, if you go, be willing to talk about it and share your experience. In addition to that, especially for things like cons, everybody's experience is very different. Like, I've seen like short videos of other people's experiences at the PAX that I was at, and I was like, I didn't even know that was happening. But for me, as someone who missed out, hearing about it from the people who went, because every time Kay got back from PAX, there was like a 4-hour call where Kay is like, okay, this happened, and then this happened. Vocabulary word: compersion, Feelings of joy and pleasure when a loved one finds joy, pleasure, or fun with others. Hey,
I love
I
that.
do love vocabulary words.
And I love because we get, especially in the TTRPG space, I feel like it is so easy for people to start comparing themselves to others or doing checklists of like, did I get enough of the, this person got this, did I get enough? Did I get, and that in this space, especially, there is a certain amount of like hustle and self-promotion and like mercenary that you have to do. You have to be loud about the opportunities you want. You have to put yourself out there in order to be remembered and thought of and get those positions. But also, it is so easy to accidentally get selfish that way. And it's not that you like are a selfish person, but once you start trying to track all of that so closely, and am I getting mine? I helped this person this time. Have they given me an that's when you start tipping over into something toxic. And yeah, I understand all too well. Oh my gosh, this person. I had a CEO who was on the set of an X-Men movie while it was being filmed. And was like, yeah, it's cool that I got to do that, but it wasn't my thing. And I'm like, it's my thing, right? Like, not that the X-Men movies were even good, but I'm an X-Men nerd, right? So I want that, right? And it is so easy to get bitter about that. And when you get bitter about that, it starts changing who you are and who you are for the people that you are building these relationships with.
Yeah. Age-old advice about relationships, mostly about romantic relationships, is you gotta give 50-50. And I wholesale disagree with that. I think you gotta give 100. Like with your romantic partner, you gotta give 100% effort because this is your person. But when it comes to a more generalized approach, especially to like professional spaces, is be prepared and willing to give more than you get. Because think of it as sowing seeds. Like, even so like, obviously, be altruistic, do things for other people because it's nice to do things for other people. But if you are of a mind to get something out of an interaction, which professionally is not an unreasonable ask, be prepared to do more, to give out more than you get, because the more you sow seeds, the more those seeds have an opportunity to bear fruit. Like, if you put all your eggs into one basket, then those eggs are going to get broken. But if you have eggs everywhere, then you're going to have a lot of chickens.
Lamia says transactionality in a relationship is a tool of destruction. Yes. Laria says, I fail to ask sometimes for fear of prying. Damn if I'm not curious and want to hear people ramble on about their joy and passion. Yes. And my career, I have a nice little advantage in this space, because if something doesn't work out, if I don't get to work, if someone doesn't want to work with me, if a thing falls through, it is not my identity or my career, because all of that, like, yes, doing tabletop stuff brings me joy and it is a part of me, but it is not my entire identity. And I make my money doing other things that are related and things that definitely help me in the space, right? But it doesn't have to be eggs everywhere. That's how you get secret chickens. So I am fortunate in that I can come at this with kind of a different mindset than a lot of folks who are trying, who have made this space central, if not to their career, to their identity, or their goals are all circled around things. But especially in my career as, what I do as marketing, as community, I have had people come up to me and be like, you introduced me to this person, and now we've made a video game together, and we're putting you in the special thanks credits. And I'm going to be honest, I don't even remember. introducing those people. I have gone out of my way to be like, oh, David and I met because I was like, I'm trying for this job. I need someone who knows screenplay writing. And a friend introduced us. And David was like, I'm not charging. I charge, I'm not charging you. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to like repay this, not because it's transactional, because you're doing me a kindness. And I would like to find a way to do a kindness back. And years later, we are best friends. The number of opportunities that I have had, the number of people who have stood up to bat for me because I did something that was small and offhand for me, but life altering for them. You know, I didn't know what I was doing at the time. That is really the best way to manage your life and your relationships. Because yes, there's been a couple people in my life where I've given them a couple opportunities and all they've done is complain about those opportunities. And they have bad mouthed the people that I have put them into contact with who I know are good people, right? And I have watched their lives, their worlds become toxic. And those people, yes, I stopped doing kindnesses for them. I'm not over here tracking every little thing, but when a pattern becomes apparent, you listen. When people tell you who they are, listen.
Yeah.
Zeal says any conversation where the other person is wearing rad face is a good one. Mami says people so often don't understand the line between transactionality and reciprocity. Exactly. Not keeping score, but keeping an eye out. Yes. So, and that is one of the things that, and we talked about this a little bit last time, but like, there were moments at PAX where people who I'm like, you are above my league. And I don't mean that in like, their streamer numbers are bigger. They have a bigger, resume. They've played more often with bigger people. And I am so lucky and fortunate that they took the time to be on my silly little channel and my silly little games. And I'm grateful and I'm not going to bother them. And they come up to me and gone, I miss playing with you. Can I be on your channel? Can I come on the talk show? Can we do something together? And I'm like, wait, yeah, okay. Yes, let's do that. And I find it funny because I've said before, there are people who seem to think I'm a big deal. And they're like, well, I can't bother Kay because they're busy and they have their own channel. And I'm like, I want to come play in your games. I want to play. David knows I want to play. Mm-hmm. At one point, I was playing, I think, 8 D&D games a week. Not necessarily all D&D, but 8 TTRPG games a week. I miss that. I genuinely miss that. So it's funny to have been on the other side of that feeling. But yeah, be open about your intentions. Be open about your relationships. Be open about what you want with things. And the more you try to score keep, the more you try to go, this is mine, that's yours. How could we find points of connection? And that's the best thing you can do. Oh, DC can confirm Kay and David are great to work with. Yes, DC is a consummate professional and very good at what he does and great to work with. So I've rambled a bunch there. But yeah, find it. And yes, there are points when of course you are going to be jealous. There are points when you're going to have the pang of, for you, the day that Kay helped you was the best day of your life. For Kay, it was Tuesday. I'm really lucky that I have awesome, creative, talented people around me. And when I can introduce two of those creative, talented people together, then Mimics and Misfits and Salty Queer are making video games. And it's great. It's the best thing ever. And those are not the people I was referencing before. It is normal to have pangs of jealousy. It is normal to have moments of, I wish that was me. I wish I was there. You got to talk to that person. I am so jealous, right? But you have to find a way to turn that jealousy into excitement. Because, again, not with everyone. There's always going to be people who take more than they give. There are always going to be people who are manipulative. But if you come at the world with goodness, then those people, as is evidenced by my entire career, who will go, yeah, that person helped me out, and I'm going to help them out back. Or, as I often say and see it, like, I tried to put good things into the world. And more often than not, when I really need it, the world repays that for me.
And one other important thing to keep in mind. I've spent most of my life in a city of over 4 million people. I have worked in the indie music scene. I have worked below the line in Hollywood. I have worked below the line in theater. I've done, despite the few jobs that I've had in my life, I've worked in a lot of different arenas. And one thing that I tell people is that Los Angeles is a small town. It's a small town with 4 million people in it. And the number of times that I have either been somewhere at like some professional event and to look over and seen somebody that I worked with in a completely different context. And I'm like, and they're like, or I've seen that happen to other people. One of the jokes I made is one of the people that I met at PAX. I, for years, lived 2 miles from them. Oh no, the camera's gone again. But I lived less than 2 miles from them and met them at PAX. And I'm like, it's kind of funny that I had to travel 3,000 miles in order to meet you in person.
Mm-hmm. That's the most LA thing ever.
Right? But smile and be polite and be kind. Again, not only because that's what you're supposed to do as a person. And that's why I do it. Like, I try to be good to everyone because the world... because people will tell you all the time, the world is a hard place, the world is unfair, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, yes, you're correct. That's why I am fighting against that. Because I will fist fight the world and I will fist fight God. Get on my front lawn, get your hands up. Because it doesn't have to be that way. And we shape the world through the things that we do. And so when I meet somebody out in the world, I try to put my best foot forward. I try to do what I can for other people because that's what you're supposed to do. But if you are more, I'm not going to say selfish, but if you're more like, personally inclined, if you're more focused on yourself and your own progression, still do those things. Because everybody knows of someone in Hollywood or in the movie industry or in corporate America who's a giant dickbag and stepped on everybody. There are documentaries about these people on Netflix right now of someone who stepped on every single person they ever met to achieve the success that they have. But your average person that has really great success, like there's a story about Meryl Streep where she was on a movie, I want to say Devil Wears Prada, and everybody called her the GOAT. She did not know that GOAT meant greatest of all time. And so she was like, well, everybody's calling me an old goat. And she was still nice to everyone. And so at the rap party, someone was like, you didn't understand that everybody was calling you the greatest to ever live? And she was like, wow. And like the takeaway from that is, be nice and kind to people, because Meryl Streep has a decades-long reputation for not just being extremely talented, for not just being the best at what she does, but also for being a really nice person. And if you spend enough time working in Hollywood, especially below the line, then you get a reputation, not for how good you are, but for how you are to work with and how much people like you. And despite all of the people that you hear about that are massive successes, I guarantee you that more people get more work from being pleasant and being likable and being good to work with than being the most talented person in the history of talent.
And I know for a fact, people in the TTRPG space are not getting opportunities because they are not pleasant to work with.
Right.
I have lists that I cannot share. I will also tell this one little story. We are already at time, but I'm going to tell this story because it is one of my favorites, and just kind of illustrates just how being nice is a good thing. Because it's one of the funniest frickin' stories. I lived on Hollywood Boulevard. My closest comic book shop was Meltdown Comics, which was an iconic.
Oh man, yeah, legendary.
It's gone now.
Comic
It's
book
heartbreaking that it's gone now. Cat is trying to eat all the feathers off a toy that he can't eat all the feathers off of. And I would go, every week and pick up the comic and just kind of browse, and they always had cool stuff. And for, often, not every week, but often for many, many months, I would see a dude there also looking at comics. Skinny guy. He also read a lot of X-Men and was picking up a lot of the same comics I was. As we'd say hi and, chat about the weather or like, oh, I'm excited about this one. Yeah, are you reading Peter David? Yeah, but, just nothing. Didn't even know his name, but we just have nice, pleasant chats. Well, then, the meltdown at the Fukushima power plant happened, and Meltdown did a fundraiser. And they basically put out a flyer and said, we have all of these local voice actors who are showing up. Show up, throw a donation in the thing, and they will sign whatever you bring. So cool. I kind of look at the list of voice actors, do some quick Googling, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest voice actor. I'm not the best at all of that. And show up with my Vampire Hunter D and an X-Men and a bunch of other stuff. And I go up to get my Wolverine and the X-Men signed by the voice of Nightcrawler. And it's my dude. And I'm like, you? And he's like, oh yeah, you didn't know? And I'm like, no, I just thought you were a nice guy. And he's like, oh, cool. Yeah. So he signs my thing. We have a nice little chat. He signs it. Nightcrawler does a little pointy tail, right? Like, it was joy. And I'm like, that was a cool thing. That was nice. I go home. Meltdown closes. I never see him again. Until the pandemic, when I am far too deep, y'all. No, it was the pandemic. I had consumed all of Campaign 2 that was released at that point. And I had gone back and started Vox Machina for episode 1 because I just needed more and the pandemic was happening. And I'm like watching him, like I'm watching them and I look and I see Liam O'Brien wearing a Meltdown Comics shirt. And I'm like, oh, and we do the fisheye zoom of my having the realization that the guy who I knew from the comic store who voiced Nightcrawler had been doing Caleb and his German accent the whole frickin' time. So I had a months-long relationship with Liam O'Brien and had no clue. Just because I was nice to a random dude at the store. And it didn't change my career. But wow, is that a fun story to tell?
Yeah, so the best advice is don't be a jerk. It's real easy. Not being a jerk is free.
Yes.
Like, it is extremely cheap. It's also very easy. Don't be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. Or if you're going to be a jerk, be the kind of jerk that Gilmore is.
Right.
Where every bit of you that is a jerk is also adorable and done for love.
And there are plenty of people who I have been and will be a jerk to. The difference is they've all earned it. They've all earned it in spades. Like, Kay has been on the receiving end of many a roast session where I've been like, this person in particular, pages of roast. And here's the other thing. For the most part, if I'm roasting somebody, every single roast, I am 100% willing to say to that person to their face. So if you're ever like, oh, David wouldn't, get your gloves up. Like go to Big Five, go to whatever sporting goods store, buy 2 sets of gloves, get them a mouthpiece, and then I will stand there and say every last thing. Because if you look like you eat cheese over a trash can outside of a Denny's, I will say so.
Rex says, if you ever see me giving someone retail polite in a conversation, please know there is history there. Yes.
Right.
So as some of you saw, that flashed up as I was trying to get that together, and then I couldn't find the layer that it was on. That is the show. We are overtime. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. It is always a delight. Thank you to Chow Tonic, I believe. Chow Tonic Writer for the follow earlier today. Thank you, Bleepneck, for the resub. I feel like we have another resub. Maybe I imagined it. Thank you, Bleepneck, for the resub. Thank you all for hanging out, for all of the redeems, for the cat counting, and all of that. As was asked in chat, yes, we are doing a Christmas game this year. I have put the thing up on screen. The Krampus Christmas Conundrum. Something has gone wrong and Krampus is overworked. Nothing bad could happen with an overworked Krampus. We have Holly Conrad, Brian Gray, Latia Jaquise, and Jen Mack playing with us this year with an adventure written by David and will be run on stream by me, with David doing all of the incredible things in the background. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. It is going to be a solid 3 hours. We are really good at landing that plane at this point. I am so excited for the psychic damage that I'm going to inflict on everyone, including David, and you won't be able to see David, but please know, even if David wrote the thing, he is still catching strays and getting that damage. The faces he pulled when I was reading out, just acting out some of the ideas in our planning session. It was great. As always, it will be incredibly punny, and it will be incredibly relevant to current events. So, buckle up for that. So, tomorrow, a new episode of the Emergency Power Podcast comes out. That is the final season of our Starfinder 1E adventure. Again, please come back. I have to put it on the streaming calendar. That is the thing I failed to do. Please come back Sunday, the 14th, for the Krampus Christmas Conundrum, where you will see me playing Krampus, which we'll see how that goes. I've done a lot of monsters. I don't know how well I can do a Krampus. I need to do some research. Echoes of the Forgotten is out, at least the prequel. I am recording that soon, so it is very much on the mind, but I will be promoting that as we go. And then we will see you back here Tuesday for more of the same. Thank you all so much for hanging out.
And for those of you who are sitting at home doing nothing on a Friday night, I think more horror game this Friday, even though I should be getting ready for the charity game. But, there's plenty of time for that.
It's always time. And I'm going to be mostly away because that's my company party.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I got a busy week. I got a busy evening.
Yeah.
So we are going to wander away. We are going to find someone to raid. As always, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for all of your comments and sharing and being such an amazing community. We are so grateful. And again, we are so grateful for those of you we got to see at PAX. We hope we will get to see more of you soon. And we hope to see you on Sunday. If you are able to retweet, that is incredibly helpful. If you are able to just hang out, even just AFK lurking on the stream, that will help us with the algorithms. If you were able to donate, obviously that would be great. All donations go to Extra Life. You will help kids this Christmas. However, if if you are unable to, because Dave and I have both been in a space recently where we haven't had $5 to spare. Again, just promoting, telling someone, or lurking will retweet will do a huge thing. So thank you once again. You are all wonderful. Be kind to yourself, be excellent to others, and we will see you next time. Bye.